There's a term, a phenomenon really, called population aging. And what makes a population an aging population is when 10% or more of the total population is age 60 and over. So 10% is the baseline percentage. And right now, Trinidad and Tobago is at 15.4%. That's a lot of seniors. In numbers, that is about 215,600 plus. So when I started the division of aging in 2003, we were just about 9.6%. We were just about getting into that 10% range, but we were 9.6%. So clearly, and what I realize is the rate at which we are aging, based on our retirement age still being mostly at 60. We just have a few firms, sometimes the foreign owned, that retire at 65, but 60 is the public service, which is 90,000 employees, And so we have to understand the demographics of Trinidad and Tobago in positioning it within the global aspect of aging. So population aging in terms of the demographic transition that we are going through is critical now, because where we are now, what has caused this phenomenon to emerge is due to low fertility rates. I was the last of 9 children. Back in the day, that was the norm. The extended family was the norm. That has now shrunk to the nuclear family and as also the single-headed family. But the low fertility birth rates have gone drastically to the point where Trinidad and Tobago now is in a negative birth rate. Because the women are now a significant part of the workforce, and as a result, they are out there and they control their womb, as we say technically, and know that they will defer their children and giving birth until they are qualified. Those are some of the choices they are making, and that has resulted in a contributing factor to us becoming an aging population. Another factor is low mortality. We are living longer. So now in Trinidad and Tobago, the average life expectancy for men is 78 average, and the life expectancy average for women is 81. So with a low mortality and a low fertility, we have now these amount of seniors, and what that has caused, even though the mandatory retirement age has remained at 60, people are now living longer post-retirement years than the years they actually worked. So you could have worked for your 30-something, 35 years of your working life, but you are living now more than 40 years after 60. So guess what? We have more than 200 plus centenarians, the eldest being 112. So everything that is happening in the dynamic of the body politic is contributing to this aging population, which is going to be here for a considerable time again. So the third factor that has made it an aging population in Trinidad is net migration, which cannot be tracked down to the wire because we have the emigration of those leaving and not returning, and we have the immigration of those who are coming in from both the Caribbean as well as from outside to reside here. But in terms of the finite numbers, we don't have it because some slip through the cracks and remain illegally here, as well as those who emigrate remain illegally where they go for some period of time until they get their residency status and all that organized. So that is what is responsible for us being officially an aging population. So we started off when I came home in 2003 at 9.6, and now we are at 15.4%. And this is based on the census, of course, that is done every 10 years by the Central Statistical Office in the Ministry of Planning. And the census is done every 10 years, and the last one being 2010. Well, guess what? We should have had one 2020. But we don't even have to remind ourselves what took place in 2020, which has gone down in the annals of history. And so we can understand why that census was not able to be accomplished, because we couldn't do it. Everybody was on lockdown. And so I'm just giving that estimate based on the rate at which we are aging to see that we are about 15.4. Of course, more persons being female. Females are usually have a higher life expectancy. As you heard, we are average 81, the men are average 78 years. So that is the phenomenon that we are treating with. And one last statement I will make on the demographic and that construct. How will we define our aging in Trinidad? What kind of issue is it? And it is multidimensional because it is social, political, economic, cultural, moral, and some added spiritual. All of that is in the mix of who we are when we have to have a representative, an advocate, a lobbyist that will be around that table when the time comes with the powers that be, the policy makers and developers and program developers. That's the conversation. And right now, what is heading the list of that definition of aging in Trinidad and Tobago, we are now, when the division of aging started in 2003, it was clearly a social issue. And much of the emphasis at the time had to be public education and sensitization to the general public. So we did a lot of outreach programs and public fora to educate people on the aging issue and what it is about and how to age and all the different aspects of it. But by the time I left in 2018, the issue morphed from social to being an economic issue because of the amount of persons in retirement, the long lifespan, and then the government, the pensions are now about 4% of the GDP. So just as the term was coined in Maryland when I was there, or it was coined in America, where they were noticing the graying of the federal budget, we are now there. There is a graying of the budget. So very soon there will be a discussion on the whole question of pension, not just whether to pay it or not, that is not even an option, but the sustainability of it and what needs to be done, and have it on the front burner of the government's policy agenda. So that's where.